Why INFJs can be intimidating. There's a peculiar experience many people have around INFJs. One that lingers in quiet moments long after a conversation ends. You feel seen in a way that's almost unnerving. Exposed, as if your inner patterns and hidden rhythms have been noticed without effort. Quietly evaluated, not in judgment or critique, but in a way that touches something essential beneath the surface. It isn't criticism. It isn't disapproval. It's understanding, raw, immediate, and somehow unsettling. INFJs don't raise their voices to assert presence. They don't dominate spaces or seek to command attention. They rarely try to impress. Yet, in their calm steadiness, people often feel a subtle tension, a nervousness they cannot fully explain. Why does this happen? Why do INFJs, among the most compassionate and empathic personality types, provoke such quiet intensity in others? Why do some people instinctively open up in their presence while others recoil, unsure of why they feel vulnerable? Being told you're hard to read, intense, or a little intimidating is not an accident. It's perception, a reflection of the depth you exude without trying. It's not about projecting power. It's about embodying depth so fully that others sense it even when it is unspoken. Stay with this. What feels like intimidation often carries a more profound truth. INFJs are intimidating because they see beneath the surface. INFJs rarely linger on the surface. Conversations with them are not casual in the ordinary sense, because they instinctively notice patterns, detect emotional shifts, and read the spaces between words. When someone speaks, an INFJ is listening not just to what is said, but to what is avoided, softened, or disguised. They perceive the subtle inflections, the fleeting expressions, the quiet contradictions that often go unnoticed. This perception can make people feel exposed, not because INFJs seek to uncover secrets, but because their awareness naturally bypasses masks and performances. Most of us are accustomed to being seen partially, filtered through the roles we play or the images we present. INFJs see through those filters. Being truly seen, especially without asking for it, can feel disarming. It evokes a strange mixture of comfort and vulnerability, as if someone has entered a space you never invited them to, yet belong in. INFJs are comfortable with silence. Silence is a space where many people feel adrift. It removes distraction and forces attention. It asks awareness to rise without words. INFJs inhabit silence with ease. They do not rush to fill it. They do not cover it with noise or small talk. Instead, they let it breathe, allowing moments to stretch and deepen. For others, this can feel intense. Silence with an INFJ feels intentional, as though every pause carries observation and reflection. The mind starts projecting, wondering what they see, what they notice, what they make of the subtle cues. In truth, they are not judging. They are processing, allowing the moment to unfold fully. But the absence of external reassurance can feel like a weight, as if the quiet itself is measuring you. INFJs don't seek validation. Perhaps one of the most quietly unsettling traits of an INFJ is the absence of need for external approval. They do not adjust themselves to fit expectations. They do not perform to be liked or repeatedly check reactions. This is disarming, because much of social interaction relies on mutual reassurance, on external confirmation that one is accepted or appreciated. INFJs step outside that pattern. They are internally grounded. They know who they are. They understand their values. They stand firm in their principles. For someone accustomed to measuring their presence through others' responses, this grounded self-containment can feel intense. Confidence that does not seek notice often feels more potent than confidence that loudly demands attention. INFJs ask questions that go deep. When an INFJ asks a question, it is rarely idle. Their inquiries are rooted in curiosity for the essence of experience, for the meaning behind actions, for the emotions that accompany events. Why does this matter to you? How did this experience change you? What did it feel like to navigate that moment? These questions are not intrusive, they are sincere. But for many, they feel intense, because they invite reflection rather than recounting, insight rather than surface-level facts. INFJs redirect attention inward. And self-reflection can be intimidating to those unaccustomed to looking closely at their own emotional terrain. INFJs are emotionally self-aware. An INFJ's emotional life is mapped with clarity. They can identify what they feel, why they feel it, and how it shapes their responses. They recognize patterns, not as judgment, but as quiet understanding. This clarity creates a natural contrast. When others lack such awareness, the difference can feel stark, unsettling. Not because the INFJ points it out, but because it is inherently present. They are deep yet grounded, emotionally anchored in ways that can illuminate the imbalance in someone else's emotional landscape. Groundedness, subtle and unwavering, can carry the weight of quiet intensity. INFJs don't overshare. INFJs often speak with insight and sophistication. They can navigate philosophy, psychology, and the abstract intricacies of human behavior without revealing the full contours of their inner world. This creates a sense of mystery. Others may understand how they think but not fully who they are emotionally. It's an intentional asymmetry. While many are quick to expose vulnerability to build trust, INFJs are measured. They open selectively, with thoughtfulness and care. Their privacy does not demand power. It simply protects the depth within. And in protecting it, they create an aura that is quietly compelling, quietly intimidating, and profoundly magnetic. INFJs are not easily influenced. INFJs listen. They hear opinions, suggestions, and advice with patience and attention. But they do not absorb them blindly. Every word, every nuance, is sifted through a lens of personal values, intuition, and inner coherence. This filtering is subtle. It is not about defiance or contrarianism. It is about alignment. They consider. They reflect, they test each idea against the quiet architecture of their own understanding. As a result, they are not easily swayed. They do not argue loudly, they do not push to dominate discussions. They simply remain. The stillness itself carries authority, unspoken and undeniable. This quiet resistance can feel intimidating, because it signals a certainty that comes from within, not from applause or agreement. INFJs are not rebellious. They are aligned. And alignment, grounded in clarity of self, is profoundly difficult to challenge. INFJs notice inauthenticity immediately. There is a sensitivity to presence that INFJs carry, a sort of emotional radar that detects what is real and what is performed. They notice when kindness is transactional, when confidence conceals doubt, when enthusiasm is rehearsed rather than genuine. They rarely call it out. They rarely expose or embarrass. They do not need to. They register it quietly, and that registration is palpable. People feel it on an instinctual, emotional level, even when the awareness is unconscious. There is something about an INFJ's presence that magnifies authenticity, making inauthenticity almost visible. That awareness can feel unsettling because it bypasses words and touches something deeper, something unavoidable. INFJs hold people to their unspoken values. INFJs do not just listen to what people claim to believe. They notice how those beliefs are enacted, how they manifest in action. They perceive contradictions gently, yet with clarity. This creates a mirror. People are confronted with the space between their words and their behavior, between the self they claim and the self they embody. The reflection is not accusatory, it is simply present. And presence, in this form, can feel intimidating. It asks the quiet question, are you living your truth? The answer is felt more than spoken, and that feeling can be disquieting. INFJs are calm during emotional intensity. When emotions surge, INFJs do not panic. They do not escalate. They do not react impulsively. Instead, they remain centered, anchored within themselves. For those accustomed to turbulence, this calm can be unsettling. It suggests strength, composure, and depth. It is a kind of quiet gravity that pulls the room into balance without force. They process intensity internally, absorbing and integrating it before it spills outward. The result is a presence that feels powerful, not through volume or domination, but through stillness and steadiness. INFJs don't compete. INFJs are not motivated by comparison. They do not define their worth through dominance or outperforming others. Their actions are guided by alignment, not hierarchy. This can feel disorienting to those who navigate the world through metrics of competition. There is no ladder to climb, no approval to earn, no scoreboard to monitor. Only presence. And presence, unentangled from comparison, carries a quiet disarmament. It removes familiar social anchors, leaving others aware of themselves in new ways. That awareness can feel intense. INFJs are intimidating without intending to be. It is important to recognize that INFJs are rarely trying to intimidate. Their depth is not coldness. Their calm is not distance. Their awareness is not superiority. They exist in a space that is often deeper than the environment around them. They slow things down, invite reflection, and expose emotional truths simply by being present. That can feel intimidating to those unprepared for it. If you are an INFJ, if you have been called intense, hard to read, or intimidating, it is not a sign of being unapproachable. It is a reflection of depth. Your presence disrupts the shallow currents of conversation. Your calm unsettles chaos. Your awareness challenges autopilot. Your authenticity highlights performance. You do not need to soften yourself. You do not need to explain your presence. Those meant to be in your orbit will not feel intimidated, they will feel safe. What unsettles some awakens others. INFJs were never meant to be comfortable for everyone. They were meant to be real, to inhabit the world fully, to hold their depth without compromise, and to live aligned with themselves.